Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope you guys had yourself a great weekend. Hope everything's going well with you guys. We're back. I've been busy with clients and people and hanging out and coming by and visiting, so I've been taking care of that stuff. But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing well. Like I said, it's been busy. I did get the Space Ranger picture done up, and we'll grab those guys. Let me flip this around to where you guys can see the page better. So the Space Ranger got done. Brian, how are you doing? So I finished up in charcoal, did a little bit of marker on it to get a couple of colors out on that, and a little bit of colored pencil just to get a little bit of tinting to that. But this is all, now it's charcoal, and I sprayed it down and stuff so that way it actually holds on to it. All right, we're doing well. Oh, good, Crazy Quilter. Wow, amazing picture, pretty good. Well, thank you, Brian. So anyway, somebody else seen this, and they actually liked it a lot, and they like H.R. Geiger, where if you do not know who H.R. Geiger is, thank you for the great picture, Crazy Quilter. If you don't know who H.R. Geiger is, he is, you most know him probably from the Alien movies. He's the concept artist and the guy that did all the creations for the xenomorphs, the aliens and stuff from the movie Aliens. So he has, the person that wanted this picture done has actually a color art pieces and stuff, and he wanted something like similar to the Space Ranger. So I'm doing my own rendition of it, and I've been working on it so far. So this is the piece so far that I'm going to be doing with it. Did a couple little sketch lines, but other than that, this is going to be done in charcoal, so this whole piece will be done. We might work on this tonight. I haven't decided yet. So if not, I also, from doing that, I pulled out my colored pencils again from doing the charcoal, and I started, very cool. Thank you, Brian. And from there, I've been concept working a character, a new character I've been trying to come up with, and at the same time, I've been looking at different clothing stuff and ideas for fashion ideas. So I kind of put them both together, and I started using colored pencil. And this is on just a mixed media gray page, where I was just doing colored pencil and just working them in to where instead of this isn't like any ink or marker or anything. This is just all colored pencil and using blends. So we might actually do a little bit with this one, maybe, because I started working on the background and kind of bringing that in for this to finish this piece out. That's great too. All right, Brian, I appreciate it, man. So that's what we got going on for the day. I've been kind of working on this with the colored pencil with light, but what we might do is this one. I think we might do just because the charcoal one is really, really tedious for a lot of that, and I don't quite, in case the client comes on, I don't want to give it away, all of it, to see what the final piece looks like. So that was so cool. I love that. Oh, Barry, thank you. So hopefully this kind of might come into more of a creation piece to it, and who knows, I might actually make it. I might actually make it for my daughter. Who knows, I might make her an outfit like that because she saw it and she loved it as well. So without further ado, let me get some of this stuff moved over. I can leave the charcoal pencils there. Let me put this page over this way because I have my colored pencil rack. Let me put my my Space Ranger one. This guy, what I'm going to do with this one is I got to get him scanned in, or get her scanned in, and then I am going to probably have the original either up for sale and then also do digital prints for people for some of these pieces because somebody already asked about it, and not everybody can afford an original piece of things, especially on that size. So we're working on that. A lot of stuff, got a lot more business stuff put together this week, so working on getting the e-commerce stuff set up, so we'll be able to start having some more things to where I'll be able to take more commissions and do more art pieces. So let me disconnect my electric sharp pencil, actually eraser, and we're going to work on the background here with this. It might have a slight reflection with this. Let me see if there's a good spot we can maybe, let me turn this a tiny bit over. Maybe that way will give that might give a good little background area for it. So right now I'm just kind of starting to block in the background. So we're kind of doing it sort of like a night dusk area and stuff is what we're going to do, and this is going to have a lot of shadow and just more machine light to it. And we'll have, of course, the street lights and stuff is what's playing over here with this. So let me grab, I need some of my blues and greens. Might need some of my, well, probably not so much of the flesh, maybe a pink here or there. Maybe I'll leave those two down there. let's grab my warm, cool French grays, all those underneath the sun. So we'll have those as well. And we'll get started with this. So we'll do some color pencil and stuff. If you guys want me to do the charcoal, I can do the charcoal instead. It's kind of, I can do either or. Either working on either ones of them. And of course, I've also been going through my workshop and stuff, and I've been thinning out my collection of things. So there's going to be a large amount of Star Wars stuff actually going up for sale soon because I need more space. I need to make some space for things. But anyway, what's going on with you guys? What have you guys been up to? I mean, what else have I been doing? I've been working on getting some bamboo to propagate and grow in my yard. I got myself a beautiful tea kettle infuser, so I've been joining my green tea with some lemon and honey. Matter of fact, I can hear it just kicking on to stay warm. Beautiful, neat tea kettle infuser. And let's see. What else? I got another network client for doing a new networking and video security system, so I got that going on also. So I started on that today. But let's see here. So these are going to be warms. When you look at this piece, I used cool grays for her hair, and then I used a little bit of slate, a little bit of blue, just to kind of give it a little bit of a tint. And of course, the back of her hair is kind of like has a little bit of a darker dye on it. And of course, she has a little purples piece that it was for. I wanted to tie in the glasses with that. And the outfit itself. Designing, I'd say not much, looking for a job, working on a Cora, done with physical therapy. Very cool. Playing with McGraw and working on TPT. That's awesome, Brian. And let's see, crazy quilt. Designing my future she shed and quilting. Cool, the she shed. Gotta love it. So, and the outfit itself is actually a mix. The dark areas and stuff are all warm grays and stuff, and sort of like I use the French gray. And what the difference is from a warm gray and a warm grays are more yellowish. French grays kind of like a bronze look to them. They look kind of like creamy. So I'm sorry, I should be staring up here. I'm looking at the message screen at the same time. So let's see here. We want probably, we'll go to, this should be a 70 or 50. 50% warm gray. So I'm going to probably use some of that, and we're going to start working in and getting some of this laid out a little bit better. And we're just, the colored pencil is actually really nice, especially when you get it. These are the soft premium Prismacolors. So you don't have to push hard on them. They'll really blend nice and smoothly with things. So I really like these, especially when you're running through with this. And of course, some of the white ones I already put some of the white down. I need to get some of the lighting to kind of blend with that. Maybe I'll I need to thin that yellow out also, so I might need to give it a slight orange. Let's pull these guys out and see what we got here. We might go with a slight other piece, and of course what we do here, even though this page isn't like gray like that, it just kind of still gives me an idea. So, and what we'll probably do, that one's alright, but I kind of like a little bit more of a muddled feel to it. That one's a little bit lighter. That looks a little bit better. So, move this guy back out of the way. And of course, I don't have my glove on it because we're kind of working a little bit lighter with it. And I kind of moved the camera a tiny bit so that way I wouldn't be totally in the way if I tuck my head in. So, but this might actually work out a little bit better, just to kind of get rid of that lemony yellow and give it a little more of a warm amber feel, because this is going to be like lighting inside this storefront here, like coming through the windows. There we go. And then we got some reflection stuff that we're going to do down here, because the roadway or the area that she's walking down is going to have like a little bit of a damp reflection area. So we're just going to add some lighting in for that, so it kind of mimics out the roadway and kind of follows in the perspective of things. So we're going to do that. We got, let's see here. Got that lighting. We want to add probably a little bit of, maybe we'll put we'll make this guy a little bit of a different color up there. Kind of give it a little bit of variation. And let's try and give these sort of a, go with this. This looks like a light aqua. Yep, light aqua. So we'll do that, and we're going to give, kind of going, this is sort of like a neon aesthetic look to it. I mean, I really wasn't planning, I kind of just started doing this and I wasn't thinking of a background, unfortunately. So, and what I'm doing is I put a little bit of white down, so that way when I blend the blue in, it stays a more vibrant color, kind of gives it a little bit more of a glowing look to it, which is something that's always nice to have in that respect. So let's see, we put a little tint there, maybe just a tiny bit on that one as well, just so you see a little bit of reflection area from the others, and we'll kind of bring it on here into this, because the ground is going to be a little bit polished up as well. And what I'm going to do is, so it doesn't look so uniform, is I'm going to use my electric eraser and just kind of push a little bit of this colored pencil away, so that way it doesn't look so sharp, so that way it'll look more reflectionary of a shiny ground, you know, a damp surface for the ground. Okay, so we got that one. Let's see if we can, we probably want to give, let's go ahead and give these guys a little bit of a light too. We might use this, I think this might be a little bit too blue. Let me give it a little bit more of a green with it. We'll mix it in together. Kind of come up with to blend to where we'll get a nice layout. And then of course, if you don't, not everybody likes to push hard sometimes. So what you always have with the colored pencils is this. This is a colorless blending pencil. Not one thing that's always good to know about this guy is if you go like to these colors, like a yellow, and then you go to a green, you want to make sure you use a scratch page or you clean this area a little bit just to get the other color off of it, so you don't accidentally mix them all together, because it will sometimes carry a little bit on there. It's not much, but it still will. So get some of these lights done up a little bit. Give this a little slight greenish look to it, almost like it's a sign, billboard sign, sort of like that one's going to be is a billboard sign. And this we want a very pale, like a soft yellow. Well, almost like, because it's kind of like not an LED, but kind of an incandescent. Like some of these have still have incandescent bulbs in it. And one thing you can do, it's a nice thing to do. That's why this guy's not in a sheet. He actually was, you know, in a sketch pad that you can trim out. I like when I work with this, I like to take these out because it makes it easier to pick up and turn the page and whatnot, to where that way you're not getting your hand, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, into it. Don't feel so bogged down by having to keep it in that sketchbook. The big thing is just doing it up. And from this piece, I kind of came up with a bunch of other, you know, outfit ideas, and yeah, just kind of working up some of that. So maybe we'll get something that'll stick. I was kind of come up with a name with there. I was thinking Chloe or something like a Chloe, but I don't know yet, because this is a character that I was kind of working on too, with the glasses and the white hair. And I was kind of, I was doing some concept pieces of her through different ages, like throughout her life, like as a little kid and whatnot. So I don't know. If you guys come up with a name that seems like it would fit her, shoot a message. I'll entertain all of them. Yeah. Nothing is not good enough for that. So. Oh my gosh. If you guys like tea and you think tea bag stuff is good, you got to get a tea kettle, an infusing tea kettle, especially one that's got a temperature setting to it, where you can set it for the types of teas you use. Because I use dried green tea leaves and dried lemon with this infuser, and it is to die for. It is so much nicer than that tea bag where it's dried out and whatnot. So, anyway, my little punch there to that. And let's see. Let's get over to these. I think I zoomed it. Yeah, I did zoom the camera out. I had it zoomed in earlier because I was working on some other stuff. But that way you can see actually what I'm doing off to the side here with the pencils. Because the way I have them organized out, I'll slide this over some more. I have, these are all my warm grays. These are my cool grays. These are my French grays. Black. I have bronze, slate. This is an eggshell. And there's, of course, the silver and the white. So I kind of keep those all as a one play area for it. And then, of course, I try to keep them kind of within a certain color layout, but it doesn't always work out sometimes, especially if you drop it. So let's see. We're going to add a little bit of light. Oh, cerulean blue. Yeah, cerulean blue. Very good color. It's got a nice blending property to it. It seems to kind of take a little bit of harshness out of things and allow us it to still be refreshing. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of give it this. Like I said, this is going to be sort of a neon aesthetic. John, thank you for liking the stream, brother. I appreciate it, man. So, but with this type of aesthetic that we're kind of going with, it's kind of like a neon layout. That's the reason why there's all these little tiny light areas for things. So, let's see if we can just to bring in a little bit of coloring. And I think I might put like another person over here so it doesn't look like she's by herself. I might put somebody like walking the opposite direction, kind of like give a silhouette to it. So, but anywho. Alright, let's see. Back to the 50, or the 50 warm gray. That's what we're going to do. And let's run this guy right on up. Because we're going to start to bring in some of this. I got some of the, as you can see, let me put it up a little bit closer. As you can see, I have a little bit of gray on the actual background area where I have some silhouette trees. I'm looking. And we're going to start bringing in some more of the other gray at a different percentage rates, and we're going to start bringing those in to blend them. So that way we're going to start to, the background's going to start to come to life a little bit. And then we'll add, once we kind of get those blended the right way we want the lighting to hit, we're going to use the blend pencil to smooth it out because it's going to look a little rough still. And then we're going to add some highlights and accents to it. The colored pencil stuff, especially when you're doing blending, you just got to, it's one of those more relaxing, take your time, therapeutic things. It's really nice. Let's see if we can. This one will be, we'll have this one just kind of looking like it's off on this side. Do that. Kind of give. There we are. And then of course here we'll kind of have this tree that will start to bring in a little bit more dark areas in. And this isn't supposed to be something too detailed on it because it's just kind of, I'm using it sort of as a give a little bit of an ambiance or a setting for this outfit and the person and stuff with their, instead of them just being on a graphic background. And then what we do is we take this, and the blender colors blending pencil a lot of times will lighten this out, so you might have to go back over once you do it, and you don't push hard with this. Some people like to dig really hard with the colored pencils and stuff. Just kind of take your time. You can push it a certain direction. You can do little swirls if you're just trying to get it to smooth out to a nice complete blend. So that's the nice part of that. You do want to be careful when you... I didn't get a notification, so I snuck up and went, good to see you again. Looks good. Oh, thank you, Frontier Man. Yeah, I'll if you give me a second, I'll show you some of the other art pieces that I'm working on. I'll finish up the I finished up the Space Ranger that we had from Tuesday. Let me pop that up here real quick, so that way you guys can see that, because that got finished. And unfortunately, my camera that I was working on, I had it playing. I thought I had it playing, but it didn't record anything. But this is the Space Ranger that I got finished up. So I'm looking at the dress and I'm doing the dessert. I'm doing dessert a cream colored embroidery on forest green, a cream chiffon for the sleeves, the green piped in black with the collar black. I'm designing in my head. Very cool. But this is my Space Ranger that we started on last Tuesday. We didn't get to do it Thursday because I had company here and I was entertaining and we were having a good time with that, which I had a great time. That's actually one of the clients that saw this and was like, hey. So, but this is all sprayed matte and stuff. This will be eventually in my shop to where you, if you want the original or if you want a digital print of it, be able to have that done up. But that's my Space Ranger. Like I said, I'm working on an H.R. Geiger commission, inspired type style artwork commission for somebody's room as well for their man cave and whatnot. So let's go back to the 50. That's 70. Let's go to the 50. And actually, let's sharpen the blender. And of course, I have a beautiful pencil sharpener, but it does not always like the colored pencil stuff. It likes to think that it needs to keep running because of the waxy layout. Just kind of funny, so you got to give it a smack every now and then. Teach it and tell it who's boss. Nice, came out good, I like it. Oh, thank you. So, but nope, other than that, I mean, I got my e-commerce stuff set up through my bank, the business account and all that stuff finally set up, so it looks like should be a tower, kind of like a silhouette tower in the back, so we'll make that a little bit sharper. These look like there'll be chillers on top of the building, so we're just going to kind of, and we want the little roof front to kind of have a little bit of lighting to it. That'd be all my notifications going nuts. So let's kind of go there. We're just going to flesh this out a tiny bit more and see what we can come up with. The nice thing is as this starts to come into play, I want to put this guy like that. Let's go ahead and blend this one a little bit because we're going to go to a 70% after that. And of course there's a 90 and then there's black. So when you need extreme details. And I try not to use black really for anything, like even like some of the darker lines, it's actually not a black, it's actually a dark chocolate color. So kind of gives it a little bit more, like especially around the skin, it gives a little more warmth instead of more of an illustrative piece or feel. This is going to be sort of like a bush area that's going to be in front, so we're just going to kind of give this a little fluffy feel to it. Like I said, we're just kind of giving a little bit of the impression that we basically have everything, where you'll see everything kind of laid out, and then of course what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of highlighting on that, like the lighting from the tree, from the actual layer, to kind of the building, that way it actually comes through. So we'll do that. Of course we can so needs just enough there, and I think I want to bring, and of course what I did is this is a very subtle type perspective where I just picked the center point that I was referencing off of and just kind of gave some lines through just to kind of give an area. So it kind of has a reference point for this, so it kind of gives a little bit better of a feel to it. I just didn't draw a straight line and then just kind of level it out. You want to use a little bit of perspective on it, kind of gives a little bit of feeling to it, and also it gives you a little bit of fisheye as well. Yes. What's going on now? Somebody? Anything crazy? No, nothing crazy going on. All right. So. That kind of taking care of the building here, just kind of, and you know what we need to do, we need to kind of give it the rooftop, because this rooftop looks a little barren. Maybe we'll give it sort of like a billboard type feel up here. Kind of do kind of like one of those little guards, so people don't want to whoa and fall off the edge. Alright, so let's run that way. And we're still using just the 50%. I haven't gone up to even the 70% or the 80 or 90. Warm grays is what we're using right now. And we're going to start to just bring it in. That's what we're going to start to do. So we got this kind of blended a little bit more, so we're going to hit these guys back up. We want to show there's another tree here, but we don't want it to blend so much into the building itself that it kind of overtakes. And the nice thing, if you do lightly with the colored pencil, is these electric erasers. You have to periodically use your fingernail to clean the tip, but if you kind of get a little bit too chunky on it, you can actually lightly run it across one direction, because if you go the opposite direction, you can actually put the colored pencil back down on it. If you keep going one direction, and then you take your fingernail, and you can literally clean it right off the top, and you can reuse it again. Nice little way to be able to clean up colored pencil. So, great little tool. Let's give this, what we need to do is we're getting, this guy needs to come in. So like so. And we want to kind of run him through also here a little bit lighter. So we're going to kind of maybe give it something like that. Lighting, a little bit of shading to it. And let's see. Now let's continue using the 15. Come across to the right side as well. There's also a couple of trees in the back here. I still have a couple little. I have a 30% warm gray that I laid down. That's almost to the same level as that, because the 20% warm gray actually matches the actual sketch paper. This is a mixed media sketch paper. You don't really want to do like watercolor or anything on it, because this is not really that thick, but you can use a lot of other dry media, which works really well with it, especially if you don't need if you're not using the bright white pages. And they also have it in brown. They got black also, if your page is really going to be a larger portion that way. There we go. And we're just kind of hinting at some of these trees back here, but we're not actually pushing in to where they look like they're, they have a little bit of a gap between actually the poles and everything, so you can still see some separation. It's kind of just a little illusionary trick for it. I was on YouTube looking at poison ivy, then your channel showed up, interesting and different. Oh, cool. Thank you, miss. Okay. Let me put the flip this over a minute, and because we're going to work on this side now, and we're going to kind of give it a little back and forth here, because these guys we're going to keep it crisp, because it's actually a man-made item, so it's not going to look so organic. But we're going to give it a little bit of highlighting from basically off of the lamp as well. So, so let's see if we can give a little. Here we go. Give a little piece right there. That way, you can definitely see it as that. And of course, I know this isn't going to be right, because we're going to have the little black fader area that these guys are going to have these lines running off of. This is what we're going to use for this, so that way you can kind of simulate some power lines running through. And we're just going to kind of. One thing about power lines is they are not, despite what everybody thinks, they aren't just straight lines. They have weight to them. So, and we're just going to kind of build this up to where it feels a little bit more natural. Like we got power lines running down this way. And we're going to give this a little bit of a sag. bit more there. Okay. And we're going to need to show a little bit of differentiation here. Let's see if we can, because we got a little bit of an alleyway we're going to put between these buildings. So we'll start splitting that off a little bit more. To where here we can actually rotate it over this way. And we're actually going to start to darken this out. So you can actually see the, start to bring the difference out for the alleyway. Alright. And the reason why I'm kind of pivoting back and forth is because I'm getting a reflection off the colored pencil. So, alright, so we got that. We're working on, need to get a little bit more up here and start to put in some of this billboard a little bit more. We'll start adding some details into there and rotate it. Make sure I'm not popping my head in there, covering the area. It happens. So let's see if we can kind of make this look like a lighted billboard. We're going to give a little bit of a pop to that. Start to bring it in. And that way we'll have two building storefronts, and what we'll do, so we'll clean up this little perspective line that I had originally right here on. That way that doesn't come through when we get ready to do, go back to the 30 and kind of get that guy lined in. There we go. Now you got a good separation to it. This guy's going to be the back of this building further back. So we're going to want to actually put it this way so I can kind of see how the perspective is going to look on it. And let's see here, let's run it through. But yeah, it's kind of neat how when you start with one thing, and things, as it keeps developing, you just keep wanting to play with it more and more. And that's the great thing about this. And like I said, it can be a bit, some people can be on colored pencil, some people can have a little bit of intimidation to it, especially when it comes to blending. Of course, you got to know your colors and, have a little bit of color theory with it. You don't need much because you can always experiment, especially if you have no background in color theory like that. It's always cool to experiment and kind of see what colors blend. We're going to sharpen this out a little bit. There we go. Clean off the tip. So. Doesn't look too bad. We'll kind of give it a little. And even then we'll have a sort of a. I don't know if I like that one, but maybe we'll run it that way. Have a little top part on it like that. And then there'll be one in the further back here that we'll do. We'll kind of give it another one that's kind of really further in the back. This one will be kind of a lighter color. And let's see here. We might actually, I still might actually put somebody over here because that just seems quite, I don't know, it just seems like it needs somebody, like a silhouette of somebody walking away. Kind of gives a little bit more of a different vibe to it. We're going to work our way with that. So, but we're going to also, we still need to give her, because we're starting to get color in there, we want to give her a little bit of an luminescence to stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a little bit of a bright here, and where the yellow is, we're going to start to blend in a little bit of a bright yellow on the tips. That way you can kind of get the feeling that she's kind of got a little bit of the neon light warmth basking to her, because we're going to put it up here on her ears, right here as well. We might actually put a couple little runs through it this way. You can get the idea that she's kind of close to some of these neon lights. There we go. Run a little bit over here on the skin. So bit right here. There we are. Okay, so that's coming out. That's tying her in a little bit better. Let's go to the 30%. Actually, no, the silhouette's gonna be a little bit darker. Well, let's go to the 50 and let's see if we can put somebody in on there. We kind of want them to be maybe. Let's see. We don't want them to be too large. So maybe we'll put them like this. Give them maybe a. Let's see. Maybe that kind of gives somebody almost like they're walking away. Arms kind of coming down a little bit. That will kind of give it a little bit of an abstract feeling. So we'll kind of do there. Maybe make the arm look like it's kind of like they're just kind of nonchalantly walking the opposite direction. Let's see. Might make them a little bit bigger. Maybe bring them up a little bit higher. But that's the reason why we do it this way. Fleshing them out right now. Somebody maybe about that. Yeah, that might actually not be too bad of a size. Your realistic views on the pictures really make a difference and make it pop. Oh, thank you. Well, we're just you're trying to make it to where it feels right. That's the thing. We're trying to get the eye to blend in what we want to see, and then here we got to do. This is the reflection area we're going to do, so it's going to kind of have a little bit of a distortion to it, a little bit. So we're going to put on the tip here a little bit of a distortion area. And we're going to have a little bit to where you can just see a tiny bit of that. Whoops. And kind of work it through this way to where blend it out to where it kind of fades a little bit, and we'll have a little bit of a darker area. We're still around here. So like so. And we can always take the blender, and the blender, like I said, we'll usually make it lighter, but we can take a lot of the streaks out, and I'm just doing small little swirl marks. That's what I'm doing, just to kind of, and then we can just keep working it through to where we get until you get the tone or tint that you're looking for. Now, if you do it light with the colorless blender, you can actually go over it again. Like I said, it actually works really nice that way. So, do that. Run this on over. So, and we're just kind of working it through. This is the more softer area, so there we go. And we're going to work some of the white here towards not perfect. That's the other goal. It kind of looks nice when it's not totally perfect to that effect. Okay, throw this blender back over. Let's I kind of do like him a little bit. Let's see if we can kind of make it look more like you kind of got a little bit of a strut to him. I have to give him some highlights. There we go. There we are. And he'll get darkened in even more on that. That that kind of gives it a little bit more when you look at it as a whole. As I look down, as I'm looking at it, it actually kind of gives it a little bit more. Just gives it a little bit more to it, and it just feels like a barren area, like she's all by herself. It just shows that it's nighttime and there's not much people out. So let's finish up working on this a little bit more. So we got this little pop storefront area that pops out. Because we don't want to give these we don't want to give it too much. We just want it to have enough to where you can start to feel a little bit of it. We'll kind of give this a little package is on the way. Let's kind of give this one to where you can see just a little bit of color to the storefront. It's almost kind of Sky Void's art. Hey, how are you? I hope you're having a good day or good night, or depending on where you're at. What are you up to today? Here we go. Pop that in. Let's see if we can blend this a little bit. So I'll be done with this one. I might work on another type of kind of fashion type design area, and maybe I won't work on a background afterwards, because like I said, it was just going to be sort of like a character concept. I was thinking about putting some other facial expressions and stuff of her because of the character creation, and of course the design style. Maybe get a little bit other viewpoints of the actual outfit, the designed outfit. So that's all. So, but I'll definitely be working on that xenomorph one that the client has a commission for. We'll get that put together. Let's see if we can do a little bit of blending here, because we're going to make this ever so slightly darker for the back half. And let's go to the 70% area, and we'll work a little bit in on that some more, because the 70% is what we're really going to get back here on. Might actually bring this down a little bit deeper to where it makes the building look a little bit thicker on things, because it'll also play better with these as well. And we'll give it just a little bit of an outline piece that way. When we give it a little bit of a light to it, looks something like that. We'll start to blend that in a little bit better, and then we'll give it a little bit of a reflection, or like a little bit of a shine to it, because this is kind of a damp night as it's showing as well. We're just kind of working it in. So Sky Void's art, what are you working on? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for hanging out. Or actually, you're on YouTube, so thank you for joining the live stream. So, what type of artwork do you work on? Being it's in your name. Hopefully I still got, yeah, have them on here. Or she, have them. There we go. And let's see here. So as we start to work darker and darker, and we start to add a couple more details, a little more areas to it. And let's see. That still sticks out of that. Let's put a little more gray back on this. Kind of tone down that green storefront, because I don't want it to be so bright. I want it to look like it's modeled a little bit because of the darkness. So, do that, and then let's hit up here. We're going to go gradient out for this. So, there's not going to be any lighting up here, so this is going to be darker. This is sort of like a utility area. This is going to be a little bit of lighting up here. So we're going to use that. So we're getting there. Because these are farther in the back, so we don't need too much. As it gets further back, you don't need to have all that detail with things. Just to give the idea, get the point across to where your eye sees it and then understands what it is, and it just computes it, and then that's that. It's really good that way. So we'll just kind of, and maybe we'll give it a little tower antennas up on the top. There we go. Gives it a little bit of industrialization there. So we can tell that it's building front. We'll kind of give it where the perspective is running this way. I'm running the lines the opposite direction to kind of break it up a little bit, but it still gives you that feel that it's the front. That's looking better. And of course, this guy is eventually going to be probably going to get to a 90, so that way he just kind of barely shows up, like so. Okay, that's working out. And let's give just a little bit like that. And this is colored pencil is really nice compared to charcoal, because the charcoal, you could see it. Probably if you look close enough, you'll see all this. I can rub my finger on it. My fingers turns black still, even though I've wiped it down and stuff. Charcoal likes to get into everything, especially these healing mats, because I've had this healing mat for so much stuff that I'm very abusive to this healing mat. I've got some nice ones for when I work on some other board work and stuff, but this is kind of like my catch-all mat. So let's go ahead and blend these. And we get a nice, clean, solid look for the front. I want it to feel solid, but yet still just kind of diminish itself towards the back. Perfect. Let's bring a little bit more of a sharpness to that edge there. So, and let's see if we can hit this a little tiny bit here and see if we can clean up where I got a little bulky there. There we go. Now it doesn't feel so fat. Does not feel so fat. We'll clean up this little line for him. Let's do a little bit of blending on this side. So blend it in a different angle just to get it to where it kind of smooth itself out. There we go. And of course, let's blend this out to where this feels like a nice solid. We can put a little bit more pressure on this one because we're not really doing too much detail up here, other than it's kind of a little bit of silhouette to that. There we go. All right, we're starting to get a little bit more to it. And let's go to the left side with the 70. And let's see if we can add in a little bit more darkness to it. Grab a little more of my tea. Okay, let's see if we can. We're trying to show that the majority light is coming from the back here. We might actually, in the far back, I might do like a lighter gray area. It looks like, see maybe further in the background, but I'm going to try and make it a little bit more like foggy, hazy up there. So I might actually show just kind of like more of a darkening to where over here the haze isn't, like the majority of the city is off to the right side. So we're for a light source area. So let's see if we can put this in play like that. There we go. Run this guy up the side over here. There we are. Give this light. I don't have anybody chatting with me because I haven't looked at my chat screen for a moment. Do it that way, and of course we'll have there we go. Just kind of as I do the trees, it's not really a big rhyme or reason. Just kind of think about how the tree branches would just kind of push out a bit, and how they'd kind of every now and then have a nice little dark area that would fall into play on one side because it'd probably have a little bit of a droop from an upper portion. And we're just going to keep working as we get further down to a little bit of a darker area, and of course we'll have a little light area below it because not all the trees usually don't go all the way to the ground. So, and we can play into these bushes a little bit to the right here, kind of give a little bit more of a dark areas every now and then because we're slowly building them up. Just like so. Alright, let's see. What we want to do now is get this guy. Got a nice little tall, thin one. I might actually clean that one up. I don't like that line. That line didn't come in the way I like it. Clean him off like so. Then what we'll do is we'll go to a 10 and we'll work that highlight back in a little bit here because we're going to actually highlight the tree a little bit. It's looking amazing. Back soon. Hop in the shower. Alright, bro. We'll see you in a few, brother. And we'll kind of do it this way. Kind of run that to the back there. And let's put these guys up. This pole, this guy's gonna have a little bit, looks like something from the back side of the building. And let's see here, I'm gonna take this up here where it doesn't have really any lighting, and we're just kind of making these to where they look like they're, like I said, chillers or other sections on the top of the building. So let's type We'll sharpen them out. There you go. I just cleaned them out too. But he still likes to get stuck on with this. Okay, so do that. We'll start with a little more detail. We don't want to go too detailed. We just want to have it to where it just feels right, feels realistic enough. Like I said, our brain with visuals and stuff, it likes the laziness of things. It likes to not have to do it. The easier it sees it and puts it together. That's the reason why magic tricks are easy. Our magic tricks aren't like really like amazing marks of genius. When I studied and did magic tricks and stuff, their tricks were really, they actually were really funny on how simplistic they were, but because your mind and your eyes, they look for the simplest solution or simplest way out for things. There we go. This is working out pretty nice. Okay. So let's see if we can make this look like it actually is like one of those little wire areas that kind of has like the keeper, and then we'll have a billboard up here, and we'll do it with let's do the 10%, and we'll make it look sort of like it's just a whiteboard, but it doesn't have anything on it yet because it hasn't been filled. So we'll start out with a 10%, do a little bit of 20 here, and we'll kind of put it at a different angle so that way it blends a little bit differently. And then we'll just fill it on through, just like so. And like I said, I'm not pushing hard on any of this stuff. You don't really need to or anything like that. Just enough to where you start to get it played in. So let's do that, and let's darken this top part here also, because I have a feeling this one will look much nicer when it's 70% out. That. We'll just kind of give it a little bit of a crispness to it, and that'll help us with, especially with seeing the building part here. So, and up here we want this to have, you know what, let's give this a dark, almost like a, let's give it a little bit of a brown, a burgundy brown, maybe a dark umber. We're going to put underneath here so you can see just a hint that it's got a little bit of a color to it, but it's kind of shadowed and it's dark. You're not really, everything kind of grays out, and like I said, it kind of blends out. So we're going to put that in there to where you can just get a little hint of that. So let's do that. Let's run this nice crisp line through there. Have run across, give it a little, there we go, not bad. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this look a little bit crisper, so we're going to take the electric eraser and just kind of grab some of that softer blending pieces and pull it away from it. When we come back, we're going to hit, I think we're going to hit probably 90. We'll do 90 next time. And that should help clear out some of this stuff. And we'll just kind of get the final detail pieces in. Get this bottom section here of this to where it looks like a, and here we're going to keep it nice. We're rotating the colored pencil also when you do this, because so you quickly get an edge or an angle on it. So as I do it, I'll keep rotating. So just like when you use a mechanical pencil, you'll work anything like that, any type pencil, you'll work a line, an angle on it. And of course, we're going to now not just do straight across. We're going to give it a little more depth, almost like you can see sort of like the separations. this is just a little bit of the details we're kind of blending on here. I can just grab a 70 and I can just here and there, and like right here I can, or you can see like the sidewalk area. And we're going to clean this little construction line in here out and blend it through so that way it feels right. Let's go to a 10, and we'll grab some of the brush just to get some of the excess off. Let's see if we can. There we go. That looks a little better. And over here we'll do the same thing. 10. Yeah. Just to give a little hints. Just to, so your mind can start putting some of this stuff together is all. Because that's really all it needs. And then we'll kind of, this will be the reflectionary spot for that. This will be the lip. And let's see if we can kind of give a little bit of a blend there, and then we want to we're not really going to have too much for reflection area. It's just a tiny bit that we're doing just to kind of give it the hints. Blend this in towards a little bit softer, a little bit more diffused. Pull it down a little bit like that. Alright, let's see. So we want to give that also so you can see almost like there's a little path there, a little path over here. Oh, jeez. Guess what? My emails are just updating. Let's go ahead and see if we can work on this silhouette a little bit over here. Do that. And what we'll do is see if we can get him darkened in to where you can kind of get a better idea of him. I think he's out there. Just do that. Like I said, it doesn't have to be really identifying of anybody here, just kind of, you can see that they are making their way around through town just as like the other person is. And so, and we'll probably give just a couple little highlights so you can see like little highlights of the skin, of like the hands and stuff. We'll work that through and we'll keep the rest of it kind of a silhouette piece to it and give just a little bit of highlight, like they're getting a little bit of the let's see. So like that. And what we'll do is, what do I need? Let's go ahead and darken these guys out. We're going to give just a little bit of the 50 right there, and the rest is going to be 70, and we're going to do 90 across the rest. And let's see. Closer up. And let's see here. Run it over like so. Let's bring this on down. And we'll give this a little bit of a, this is more towards the ground area. We're kind of trying to make this dark because of the light that's coming out of the windows that we're doing. So we're going to try and make that to where that looks more, that you're not seeing too much of it because of the brightness from there. And we're going to work on these windows a little bit more to brighten them out. We're at 90% now, 90% warm gray that we're now going to be laying down. And as you'll see, it'll start to really start to richen everything out as we keep doing it. So, about here, we'll give this one a little bit more, and then when we blend this, we're going to probably hit it one more time, and then what we'll do is we'll tweak it out. We might use a tiny bit of accenting with black. Like I said, I don't like to use black that often, except for only like the very tightest areas. Like when you think of black, it's sort of like almost everything else has a type of tone to it, but black would be like where there's like, say, two things are pushing together. Like if you take your, as you put your fingers together, look at the actual lighting and stuff as you push them together, the line gets tighter and tighter, in between it gets darker. That's a kind of like a little color theory or synopsis you can do with that. Okay, let's grab the 30 over here and see if we can. It's still bright. Let's go to the 50 and darken out these poles a little bit. I think I got this pole a little bit bright still. There we go. Go to 50. And then we'll hit it up with a tiny bit of light when we come back. Actually, let's go to 10 and see how that looks out. Oops. What did I push? What did I drop? Oh. I dropped one of my DeWint pencils. So let's do the 10 and run the 10 up here and see if we can just give it a little line without using a pure white. Perfect. See how that brightens that little section out, where it kind of gives you a little bit of feel that it's actually lighting up around it. Do the same thing back here. And we'll do it over here as well with the depth of the pick looks good. Thank you, Frontier Man. So we're going to run this, a little bit of light on the top of these bushes, because we're going to take a slight bit of green. Well, no, a little bit of yellow, sorry, not green. To show the amber of the lighting coming out and reflecting on it. So that's what we're going to do with that. These guys are going to have a little 10 because they sort of like that. Let's see. So, okay, back to 90. So we got that. We have that. We're gonna really just push in a little bit of the some shadows and stuff. Like we're gonna put it over the brown here, so that way you're not seeing too much. That way we're gonna kind of give a little bit. We're gonna blend over here with this. So that way we can pull it through. Let's blend this down a bit. And what we can do is we can actually do a neat little cheat here. Remember I was telling you about the French gray. The French gray has a little bit of a bronze look to it. We might actually be able to use the French gray to show a little bit of lighting. Oh, that's the dark one, too dark. Let me go to this. Let's smooth out this texture on the browns here with the gray. So that way it loses some of its brilliance, because we want that to just look like it's got its shadowing. Excellent. Go to a 10% warm gray again, because here is the front of the building, and we're just going to kind of give it a, where it's actually catching light from across the way. So do that. We'll go to the blend pencil here, and we're going to blend and work this in. So we're actually going to smooth this down. Blend it across. And let's aim to before we hit the white, because we're going to have to clean the tip off. I'm going to keep up with the different gray, the different warm grays for right now, just to get it to where it goes across nicely. So. Run it across that so that way it blends smoothly through. And of course we'll box this also at the top here, just so you get like a little bit of a strands, and then we'll smooth it through the entire piece like so. That way we start to get that look, and then we're going to work on the windows there. So all right, let's run that through. It's a shame I need to get some more of my tea. I'll get some in a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to the 90. Let's see if we can put a little bit more through here, just to give a little more hint. There we go. There we go. And let's come up here, and we're going to bring this out a little bit darker. Now let's just do a little bit of blending. I'm doing one direction, like I'm simulating the tree length areas to where it smooths out the trees to where it's not so harsh. And I'm just kind of guessing how I want the branches to kind of play through up to the top. I'm just kind of see how the tree gonna branch out and bloom out a little bit, because we don't need it to be so sharp and detailed. We kind of want it to be soft and blending. So we'll do that. Sounds like my dog is going nuts a little bit. Not the end of the world though. There we go. Okay. So we do this. There we go. So now I'll bring it up a little bit closer. You can see how the trees are starting to blend nicely and stuff toward it. You can, when you look at the pictures whole, you can see it as a tree, but as you look at it as a whole, it kind of, they push into the background. That's what we're looking for. And I think I got the wrong lighting. There it is. That's the right lighting for my camera. Because I just noticed I looked a little yellow on the screen. All right. So let's take a little bit of the excess off with the brush. And let's continue on with the actual layout here. Come across to this side. And being we have the 90 now, we're just going to kind of give a little bit more details on things. And that's still a little bright. I might actually use something maybe a little bit bland, sort of like maybe an olive or a green ochre one, just to kind of flatten that out. Let me grab this page and let's see what it looks like. Even though, like I said, it's on white, it'll give us an idea. Yeah, that's too yellowish. We want it to be a little bit more. Maybe we'll give this one a try. I don't want it to be too vibrant there. That's too vibrant. So maybe let's go and find a middle ground. Find a middle ground. I'm back. Looks incredible. Well, thank you, Brian. So put this back away so we don't have that bright green pushing on us. Actually, let me put it back up here. I'm looking for sort of like that military. There we go. That military type green. It'll blend nicely with the gray, the warm gray. There we go. To where we can start to get this to where this even feels more like it's, even though it's green, it probably looks beautiful during the daytime. We want it to look like it's, being it's dark, that you just got a hint of it to it. And we're going to run that through. That's what we're trying to do. That's the goal. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. Let me throw him back in. No sound on my end. We'll try refreshing. Okay, Brian, that sounds like a good idea. So, gotta love the Twitch. Some days it comes to work doing fine, some days it doesn't. So let's hit this guy down this way. We're going to blend him a little bit. So, and just going to kind of push this through. Not bad. Still not hearing nothing, not even music. I'll switch to YouTube. Sounds like a good idea, Brian. So, okay, so we have that. Let's see if we can, never mind, now I hear the music. Must have just took a moment for it to buffer up. That's what it must have had to do. Get yourself buffered in and set up. Let's push this 90 a little bit up here. But your voice sounds very odd, so I'll switch to YouTube. The buffering and stuff. Alright, let's get... Okay. And let's lightly, we're going to lightly put more of a 90 in this and give it a gradation. That way. Doesn't look bad. I'm on YouTube and now your voice sounds right on YouTube. Well, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad we got one of them's working right. There we go. Let's look this backsides in a little bit. We'll work this guy up here too. That way he's doesn't look too shabby. Give a couple of little, even though we blend these, we're going to do a couple little spots that's going to have a little deeper dark area to it. And that'll help even give it a little bit more of a personality. There we go. Alright, not too bad. Okay, so let's push that over. And let's see what we can do here. We're probably going to work. Let's see. Let's give. I got a little spot here that I was working on for this, for the sort of like just a little bit of a graphic thing for the roadway or the walkway. I was looking more just for a graphic thing, so I think we'll give it a little bit of a bluish tint here. That light color, just so we got a little something that shows there. Wasn't supposed to show anything too crazy on it, but that's what we're going to work with. So we're going to blend those together to get that light blue with the, just kind of like a ghosty, like haze piece. It just kind of gives it and fills out the perspective to it. That's what it does. Okay. So what I haven't decided yet is, even though this is colored pencil, I thought about maybe using a little bit of lead, but I might actually go back with colored pencil and just do kind of a little bit of a slope area to where this will have this tone, and it'll naturally kind of start to darken out over here, is what we'll do. You're welcome. You never know with Twitch these days after an hour or so. Yep. Sometimes I have an issue with the buffering. So, alright. Let's clean that up a tiny bit. Sorry. I'm looking at her now. Alright, we got that. Let's do a little bit of blending here. Just because we got the 90 now. And then we'll start working on some of the more details of these lights and stuff, and start making these lights feel a little bit more vibrant on us. Start working on the accents, basically. So we're going to get that that light up there. Okay. Alright. So, on the fun part. We need, let me look at the yellows here. We want a pale yellow, maybe maybe not, except maybe a cream. Cream might work. Let's see here. Sorry, I bumped my mic. We're going to do maybe a cream in here. Let's put it this way. Kind of give a little bit of a warmth in there. That doesn't look too bad. The cream is a good start. So we're not gonna make it look like it's complete squares. We're gonna give it a little bit of a reflective quality to it, like the windows. You can see like that. And these guys are gonna brighten out. And we might actually give it a little bit of a yellow with it, a deco yellow. The deco yellow might actually work out pretty good. Let's see. Yes, that doesn't look bad at all. This might actually give us, we'll start to run it in a couple of strips just to kind of give us a little bit of a hint. Like so. Like you can kind of almost see like the lights like really closer to one side of the glass versus the other. Maybe we'll give a little bit here just to kind of smooth it out. Doesn't look too bad. Let's give a little. Actually, let's give a lot brighter of a yellow to that one. Maybe a little bit of an orange. We'll use a little bit of an orange hue up here to kind of show that it's highlighting on the top of the bushes. Like so. And maybe we'll give it a little bit here to where it looks like it's lighting up on the light pole as well. And let's see. We're gonna still have these two little areas. We're gonna have to work on those lights because those are like antenna lights. We're kind of looking at. So clean that out. Alright. And let's turn a little bit because we're going to get a little bit of a lighting layout in here as well. We're going to go sort of like that. Let's see if we can. This guy we might actually do something neat with. Let's see. Maybe we'll give it like it has like a little neon sign in the window as well, like it's hanging up like the open sign or something like that. So we'll do that. That should look pretty cool there. Let's go back to this. Not sand. We want the deco yellow. Okay. Guys, a little bit more of a. There we go. Put a little bit of it here as well. That looks good. Looking good. All right, I got that. We need this guy. We need to work on. And what we need to do, of course, is not make it look like he's floating there. Is we need to give him a little shadow to make it look like he's in. You can see his reflection on the give him a little bit of an angle to it to where it looks like he's actually on the roadway. There we go. So that way he doesn't feel like he's in space. And what we're doing is we're going to blend it in a little bit to the ground. just to show that it's got a little bit of a dampness to the ground. There we are. Okie dokie. So now let's grab a little bit of a flesh color here and we'll make it look like where you can actually give him, like he's got a little bit of hands. I'm going to start to work them in that way. And maybe we'll go to a little bit of a warmer color with it. Let's actually do a neat little trick here. We're going to clean this back out because we're getting a lot built up. We'll clean this. And we're actually going to probably clean this area here. This will be a neat thing. We'll make it look like you can see a collar on him. That way we'll give him a little bit of more detail to it. There we go. Let's give him a nice white pop collar. Looks like you can see a collar over the top there. And let's go back to the 90. Because now we're going to clean that in just to where it looks a little bit sharper. Like so. And we want to give him a little bit of maybe a tiny bit, a little bit of light around the side of him. Just a little bit. There we are. And let's blend him in. Said he's kind of a background thing, so he's not going to have really much detail at all, and just other than just enough information for us to understand that it's just a guy back there in a suit walking down the road. That's all it is. There we are. All right. Clean the blender off. We want. What do we want? Do we want 30? I think 30 might be the, let's see, 30 kind of pretty much blends in, looks exactly almost like it, so we're going to, we want to do maybe that way, so we're going to probably work the 30 up this way, kind of bring it across, not right at the eye, but just above it, because this is going to allow it to where this is going to be this color, and it's going to, now here it's going to slowly gradate down and get darker in gradation. But we don't want it crossing the eye. We want it just above it, to where when you look at the picture, you know, you'll have a focal point. Like this will be dark and it'll come to light, but we don't want it right there. We want just a little bit top of it, so that way it kind of transitions back through and allows your eyes to actually follow along. Gives you a line of sight or a path. So I'm going to flip over to where I'm going to get this to where I'm going to use a majority of it, to where I can just start to softly blend it in. I'll be very delicate around by the hair and stuff. That way I don't push over on that. And I might give her a slight glow maybe on this side, just to accentuate her a little bit more. This will kind of provide for like the haze, the light haze that's kind of cast over here at night. So kind of gives it a little bit of a foggy feel. And then what we're going to do is I either am going to use my blend pencil, or I might actually try out one of my big stumps, one of the big Tordilon, my Japanese pencils, my rub pencils. But I think I might be able to get this to where it looks good with just that and a little bit. So to get an idea, it's going to come down that way a little bit, and it's going to drop. Okay, that's not looking too bad. So we're going to do that. Let me turn this at a different area and shade it in a little bit more at the 30, and then we're going to go to the 50. all the way down. So let's see if I can put this up close enough so you guys can see it. But you see, when we put it on the dark section, you see how that is the flat spot that I did, and you see how it kind of has a little bit of a tip. That's the way that I was holding the pencil, so I was holding it this way. That way I get a nice wide area for it. Okay. Let's go to this one, and we are going to do how close. I want it probably maybe here. We're going to go to the next level, the 50, and this is where it's going to start to. And I'm very lightly, I'm just brushing it a little bit just where I start to get some line work in. Nothing crazy, because I'm just going to be slowly working this in because I want it to have a nice gradual. I want to try not to get too sharp of lines in here. Okay. Let's go to the 70. And we're going to bring it in a little bit more, because then once I get it all the way through, we're going to blend it, and we're going to see what if we need to clean it up a little bit more. Just till we get that look, that tonal look that we're looking for. Then this piece, I'll have to figure out if I'm going to hide a signature or what I'm going to do with it. But this piece will be done. And what do we got? 8:30? Oh, we got time. Good. We don't have enough time to where we'll start working on the charcoal piece, but maybe we'll do that Thursday if I don't get it. And we're on to the 90% now. The 90% we're just going to catch a little bit up here. Say I don't want it totally dark, I just want to have a little bit. What we might actually do if we need to make it look a little bit more richer is we might actually go to the French grays and give it a little bit of a bronzing look to it. So this is a larger Tortillon, a rub pencil. It's basically, this is wrapped paper. It's like washi paper. And you can do this with it, however it does not catch as well because of the oils, so that's why I'm probably going to use the blending pencil and do the side. There we go. Sorry about that. And let's see, we can just lightly rub this in. I'm going at I rolled it at this angle, so I'm blending it at this angle just to kind of get it to blend nicely and smoothly. See if we can. This is going to be barely visible at this section where I'm blending right now, because the 30% practically just has a slight tone to the actual paper itself. So let's see if I can turn it at an angle so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's got just a very slight. So we're going to run that. We're going to kind of use the blending pencil here. And we're going to start to bring this in. And I know we're going to be doing another layer on this, definitely. So we might actually do a little bit of a French gray with this as well. We'll blend that. We might do 2 more passes. So, and go from there. So, but if you're interested in colored pencil work and you're wanting to see just what you can do with it, this is all colored pencil. So, I mean, the most I did with some lead is I just kind of, when I first started this, I just kind of mapped out everything to where I had my marker areas for the head, the body, the hip, and the leg area, to where everything had a proper proportion to it. So the only thing that is a little wonky is, like I said, the background, because I wasn't expecting to do a background yet. I wasn't even thinking about it. This was just kind of sketching. And then I decided that I was going to go further with it because I was getting better and better ideas, and it just kept getting more and more out, which was great. Creative juices kept flowing. Alright. We're slowly getting that gradation that we're looking for. I might actually... That's not look too bad. Let me turn this a little bit so I don't get too much of a flat spot on that one area. I'm going to work this through. Starting to come through. actually, what I might do now is I might actually just go to probably the 50. And I might work the 50 to where it now blends out to a darker and darker area. Let me clean the excess off of that. But now we're starting to get through with that. So we got 10, 20, 30, 50. Yeah, the 50. Because I think the 50 is as dark as I probably want it, maybe up here. Yeah, that's about as dark as it's kind of going to want this corner area to be. So I might just run that up a little bit more. Let's see. Let's add a little bit of a French gray to it. This is the 50 French gray. Let's see if we can maybe get a little bit more of a warmer, even a warmer color, because it's got a little bit of that bronzes look to it. And this might help fill in a little bit. Still give it that foggy haze look, has a little bit of feeling. Now remember, I went this way, I blended this way, and now I'm going straight up and down. So I'm kind of keeping it all different angles, so that way you start to lose the marks as we blend, as we keep working these pieces together. It's okay if you're looking for that type of texture, but a lot of times you don't want to. So, alright. There we go. And we're going to bring this. Oh, somebody left my gate open. I got a doggo out here. What do you want, Lily? What is it that you want? You just came out here to hang out with me? You got to be a little bit taller so everybody can see you. They just see your body. Yeah, they just see your body. So, okay, I see you. Don't you bark at me. I'm still working. Sometimes they just gotta have your attention. Can't let it go. This is good. This is looking much better. It's not quite, like I said, I want it to be very subtle. And then over here is where I might actually take the eraser here a little bit on it to kind of take out some of those harsh lines that are still pushed in. So let me see if I think I'm going to do that. Clean out some of them harsher areas. That way I can re-blend over the top. Clean off the excess. Away we go. So let's now come back here again, and then that should definitely smooth. Yeah, it's not nearly as, it doesn't have a harder line there, so we're going to do it this way. And that's howdy, Lily from Big Girl. Yeah. Yeah, you saw her for a moment. She popped up. She's got a little bit of height still on her. So, at least at this table you can see her. At the standing table behind there, all you see maybe is the tail wagging. So, alright, well, that's not too bad. I think that gives enough tint to it. I might maybe bring it a little bit darker up here. Yeah, let's do that. Nothing else, maybe we'll go back down to a 30 and see if maybe we can just kind of smooth it out. Yeah, that's very true. Let's see here. Let's go back to the 50. Oop, too dark. Let's stick with the 30. Maybe we'll just... No, I kind of do like the 50 still. Let's obvious, but sometimes you just got to. So let's do it this way. Let's run it this way. Alright. We're almost there. This picture might be done. Do one more blending pass. And let's see. Maybe we'll blend the corner and see how we'll work the blender a little bit tighter instead of it being so loose. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I think that's coming out right now. That's looking much better. Yep, that'll work. We'll stick with that. I think that might be it. So much better. Take this down a notch. And like I said, it's not to be so darkening, just a subtlety. That's where we want it to be, very subtle. Sweet. Alright, so I guess I need to... Oops. Not drop all my colored... I'm being my tables at an angle. I have a tendency to drop colored pencils every now and then. Alright. Let's see here. Okay. And let's do a little bit of black on him just to get some of that extreme silhouette here. That way he doesn't still feel kind of ghostly. Like so. Perfect. Alright, where should I put my name at? I'll put it down here at the bottom. We'll do like I usually do. And this is 2023. There we go. Alright. Well, that piece is done. Time to work on something else. Anyway, let's show the people who didn't, if they didn't see, let me show you the other. I got my chair stuck. There we go. So we'll go over one more time. I'll show you the stuff we're working on, what we got finished. So, all right, we got her done. I kind of like, I thought of Chloe for a name, or Chloe. Something like that, kind of like matches cloud, you know, like a cloud, like her hair or something. It's kind of soft. And then, of course, this is the Space Ranger that we worked on. This one's done and been sprayed. And of course, this is the one that we'll be working on next, because it's the commission, which is going to be my inspiration of an H.R. Geiger xenomorph, alien xenomorph for a client that wants for their office area. So. Not quite done yet, but as you can see, it's going to use a lot of charcoal on this one because the background isn't going to be like white. So, but I didn't have a page big enough that is strong enough. This is like a 200-pound paper. So, if I had to, I could actually. I thought about maybe doing a little bit of a marker rendering for the background for it. But anyway, guys, so we'll put those up. These are ones that we've worked on. Actually, move this over. And that we've gotten done. So let's flip over to live cam, the big one. Alright guys, well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. We had a great time. I got this piece done, and we're making some pretty good progress on things. Well, Thursday I'll either have another one of these, or I'll do another charcoal thing, or we might be just working on the xenomorph one and kind of putting that out. Those of you who are not familiar with H.R. Geiger, he has a lot of detail he puts into his artwork and his concept pieces, and I'm using charcoal to try and do that with. So it's kind of an interesting piece because it's sort of detailed and abstract at the same time. But anyway, great artist, got a really neat, interesting style to it, and the client really likes them as well. So we're going to have some fun with that. But anyway, I hope you guys have yourself a good night, a good Wednesday, and we'll see you guys Thursday night for the next live stream. So take care, God bless, and don't forget, let's create something together. You guys take care now.